In this session, we are going to know about what is the usage of command line arguments. So these are nothing but the arguments that are passed at the runtime. That is, while running your program, so you can pass some arguments at that time. So that those things are said to be the command line arguments. Okay, so let us see this. So you can understand what is exactly it is. So when you are running your program in the command terminal, that is command line terminal, some black window is there, here terminal is there. So how will you run any program? So using your file name, you will run your program. So while running the program at the command line, if you are passing some input values means those things are nothing but command line arguments. So look at this. Here, this is a keyword, that is Python 3, and this is a file name gfg.py, and followed by that the inputs 2, 3, 5, and 6. Okay. So how many arguments here? So including the file name, it will count the number of arguments. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So totally 5 arguments including the file name. Okay. So how do you access the information about these command line arguments? So there are 3 modules that are available. One is sys.argv, and next one is get_opt module, and another one is argparse module. So let's see one by one. Okay. So first thing, sys.argv. So this module, it has some variables and functions to access the information about the command line arguments. So what are those variables? Okay. So here this argv, right? So this is an array variable which consists of all the command line arguments that are passed at the runtime. Okay. So in this, all these arguments are stored in this argv variable. Okay. So array always starts at the index 0, right? So argv of 0 will consist of gfg.py. Argv of 1 will have the value 2. Argv of 2 will have the value 3. So it goes on like that. Okay. So this sys module has a variable called argv, which consists of the list of all the command line arguments. Next, if you want to know how many number of arguments at the past, okay, then you can use the function called length function. So this length function, normally if you take it in the string, so length of string variable means it will give the number of characters in that string as the length. In the same way, how many number of arguments that are stored in argv, so that number is given by this length function. Okay, so this function will return number of arguments that are passed at the command line. So this next one, if you want to access the name of your Python file, so where it is exactly stored, argv of 0. So this argv of 0 will have always the name of the Python file. Okay, what is in this case? What is the name of the Python file? gfg.py. Okay. So using this sys module, you can have access to the list of command line arguments that are passed, and you can know how many number of arguments passed, and you can know what is the name of your Python file. Okay. So let's see an example. So in this example, we are going to adding the numbers using the command line arguments. Normally, if you want to add numbers in Python program, what you will do? By using the input function, you will read the number. For example, if you are reading two values A and B means A is equal to input, enter the number. B is equal to input, enter the number. So you will get the values from the user for A and B, then you add it and you will display it, right? But in the case of command line arguments, where you will get the command inputs by using the argv. Okay, so this argv, if you want to use it means you have to import the module sys. So import sys, then you can make use of argv, length function and everything. Okay, so here what is the first statement? N is equal to length of sys.argv, which means this will return the number of command line arguments. So that is stored in N. So this N is displayed. Total arguments passed is nothing but the value of N. So next, if you want to display the name of the Python file or Python script, okay, it's nothing but a Python file. So where it is exactly stored, sys.argv of 0. So 0th index, always it will store the file name. Okay. So next, so if you want to display all the arguments that are followed by the file name. So normally if you want to display one or more elements means we are using a for loop, right? So in this for loop, we always start at the index 1 because 0, it consists of the file name. So you start with the index 1 until n minus 1, you have to display each and every arguments that are passed. Okay. For example, if you are, for example, if you are taking this case, okay, here argv of 0, okay, that is name of the Python script is gfg.py. So total arguments passed. So length function will return the n value. What is n value here? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay. So it will display 5. So next you are using a for loop, right? So you are using a for loop here and you are displaying each and every argument that are following after the file name. So what are the argument following after the file name? 2, 3, 5 and then 6. So 2, 3, 5 and 6. These are the arguments passed. Okay. So if you want to sum of the numbers, if you want to compute the sum of the numbers that are passed at the runtime. So which means normally whether you are specifying the number or a character or a string or a floating point, always it reads the input as a string. If you want to store it as integer, then you have to convert the string into integer. So by default, all the command line arguments are in the data type string. So if you want to add means, you can add only numbers. You cannot add characters or something like that, right? So you have to convert this sys.argv. If I is 1 means argv of 1. So argv of 1 is what? 2. Okay. So this 2 is string in string representation. So if you are using type conversion, then it is converted into integer. So now 2 is converted as integer and that is stored in the sum. So sum initially 0. Sum is equal to sum plus this 2. So what will what is stored in sum now? 2. Next, I will be incremented as 2. Argv of 2. What is Argv of 2 here? 3. So sum is already having 2. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Right? Again, it takes the value 3. Then Argv of 3 is 5. So already 5 is there. 5 plus 5, 10. So again, it takes the next value and 10 plus 6, 16. So what will be stored in sum? Finally, it's 16 and it will display result 16. Okay. So in the output, you will get the string as result colon 16. Okay. So this is the usage of sys module. First, you have to import. Okay. Then you can find the number of arguments and you can display the name of the Python file and you can list what are the arguments values. Then you can perform some operation on those arguments after converting into the correct data type. Okay. So that's all about the sys module. So next one is get opt module. Okay. So this sys module is used to access the command line arguments and you can perform certain operation on the command line arguments. So what is the purpose of this get opt module is whether we have correctly given the command line arguments or not. So this opt module is used for validating the command line arguments at the runtime, whether the user has given the correct command or not. If the command is correct, then what should be executed? In case if the command is wrong, what should be done? So that is, for that purpose, we are using the get opt module. So this syntax, let's see the syntax, get opt dot get opt. So here 3 variables are passed, args, options and then long options. Args means list of arguments passed at the runtime. Options means this command arguments may start at any of the letter that is mentioned in this option value. Okay. So this option is a string. It consists of some letters. Okay. In that letter, the argument may start. So let's see this example. You will understand what is called options and then long options. Options, it is a string which consists of a characters H, M, O. Okay. So which means your command can start with the letter either H or M or O. So that is the meaning. Options means in which letter your command may start. Okay. In case your command will take some value as input means you have to use the colon. Okay, so that is the usage of options. Long options means what is the exact long command. Okay, for example, here H is the short option, but help is the long option. Okay, either the user may use H or they may use help. And in the same way, either the user may use M or they may use my file. And next one is O. O represents output. Either they may use O or they may use output equal to. Okay. So why here we are using colon means this output will take some value for this command. That's why we are using a colon. But this H doesn't take any value. It is just a command. And this M also doesn't take any value. For example, any command which takes some value means that should be followed by colon. In the same way, in long options, if any command takes some values means it is followed by equal to. Okay, so these two things doesn't take any value, but this takes some value. That's why it is followed by equal to. So in options, we are using colon for taking a values, and long options we are using equal to sign for taking a values. So these are the three parameters that are required by getOpt function. So using the getOpt module dot getOpt function, so list of arguments and then options and then long options. Okay. So what does this function return means? It will return a pair of values. That is arguments and then values. So this arguments itself, it consists of a pair of values. Okay. So command and then value. So let's see this example, you will understand. For example, here what is the command I have given at the runtime? Python, this is a keyword and then this is file name and this is -h. So this is a command I have passed. So -h means, so your argument options is either it can have h or it can have help. Okay. So here this argument will consist of pair of values. That is, one is a command and another one is a what value it takes. So this h command doesn't take any value. This h command doesn't take any value. Okay. So what is the value that is stored in the argument part? -h, empty. Okay. Then again it takes the second argument. What is the second argument? It can take -m. Okay. So -m, it doesn't take any value. So what is stored in argument? It consists of two parts. One is -m and another one is it doesn't take any value. So none. Okay. And next third, what is the third argument? -o. Okay. So it takes two values. Sorry. This argument will take some value in addition with the argument, right? So what will happen? So this here argument consists of pair of values. One is -o, followed by value. Okay. This help command and myfile command doesn't take any value. So the value part is 0, but this -o command will take some value. So this argument will consist of a pair of values. That is, first part is what is the command and the next part is the value that is taken by the command. Okay. So what is this values? This values is nothing but after the command, what are the remaining values that are passed at the runtime. For example, here after the command we are not passing any values. So the values field will be empty. So here also after the command we doesn't take, we are not passing any values. So here values is empty. But if you are passing like 2, 3, something like that, then the remaining values will be stored in this part. Okay. So let's process each and every argument, whether it is given correctly or not. So let us process this one. So we have to check whether each and every argument that is given correctly or not. We have to check whether help is given correctly or my file is given correctly or the output is given correctly. So we have to use for loop, or we have to take this argument part. Okay, for each value For each value in the argument, you have to check whether the command is correctly given by the user or not. So this argument consists of a pair of values, that is current argument and current value. Okay, what is the command and what is the value that is taken by the command. Okay, so if the current argument is minus h or the long option minus h. So this command may consist of minus h or minus h. If any of this match means what does it will print? Displaying h. Okay, so let's see this example. Here minus h I have given, so it is matching. So what is printed here? Displaying h. Or else if it is not minus h, then it may be minus m or minus 5, right? So if that is the case, then what should be matching? Displaying the file name. Okay, so where the file name is stored, sys.rb of 0. So there the file name is stored. So in case if minus h is not given and minus m is not given, then if I am using minus o, okay, so then what it should be printed? Enabling the special mode percentage yes, here current value. So what is the value for this one? What does this minus o takes at the runtime? For example, you see this one. Here the file name is given, followed by that minus my file. Okay, which means which is the argument matching? This one is matching. So it will display the file name. So what is the file name? gfg.py, right? So next is minus o and then followed by the value that is taken by minus o, right? So here it matches this one. Okay, so minus o is a command and the value is the current argument is minus o. Current argument is minus o. Current value is what is it? Blue. So what will be printed? Enabling special mode, then blue. So look at this output. First one is minus m my file. So it will display the file name. Next one is output. So here enabling the special output mode blue. Got it? So this get_opt module will check whether the built-in command that is entered by the user at the runtime is given correctly or not. Okay. So that validation is done by get_opt module. Next, we move on to argparse module. So this argparse module is also used for validating the parameters or the command line arguments at the runtime. In case the user gives any invalid arguments, then it will issue some error message. So that is the purpose of using an argparse module. So here there are 3 steps. First one is you have to create a parser. Okay, parser is nothing but validator. So this will check whether the arguments are given correctly or not. Next, adding arguments. So adding arguments means we are storing the argument information to this parser object. First part is we are creating an argument parser object. Next, we are filling the information with the argument parser object. And then the third thing is you have to convert them into the correct data type and some action can be performed on that command arguments. Okay. So there are 3 steps. First is we are creating a parser to validate the arguments. Next one is we are storing the information about arguments into the parser object. And the third part is the validation. We are checking whether the correct data type, in the correct data type, the command line argument is given or not. If there is a correct data type, then it will invoke certain action to produce the result. Okay. So these are the 3 things that are given in the argparse module. Let us see the example, you will understand. So here what module you have to import means import argparse. So this is a module you have to import it. So what is the example means? We are calculating the sum of the command line arguments. Okay, we will calculate the sum of the values that are passed in the command line arguments. So first we are using import module to import the argparse. Next you are creating the parser object by using the argument parser method. So this method will create an parser object. So here there are so many options you can given inside. All those options are optional. Either you can give or you can just giving the function brackets alone. So here if there is any error means what should be printed like that they can give, or otherwise if this is successfully executed what should be done and what are the things can be there. So those things can be given or you can give it as empty. So this is the argument parser method which creates a parser object and initializes with the empty value. Next one is, first part is creating a parser object. Next part is adding the arguments information to this parser object. So here the parser object is named as parser. So it will call the add underscore argument function. So this will store the information about the command line arguments given by the user into this parser object. Okay. So after that, one more thing has to be added here. So next, this parser will give the information about what should be performed on the command line arguments. What action should be performed on the command line arguments. Okay. For example, here the action should be taken as sum. Okay. You have to calculate the sum of the values of the command line arguments, and the action is you have to store the final constant sum value. So this destination is nothing but accumulate. Accumulate means this is the attribute object that should be called with the parser object. Okay, here the parser object that is returned is args. So this parser object should call the accumulate attribute function to calculate the sum of the integers. So this add argument will store the information about the arguments into the parser object, and also it tells what should be performed on the command line arguments. Okay. So this will add the information and it also stores what has to be done on that information. Okay. So those details are added into the parser object with the help of add argument. So next thing is, what is the third stage? Validation. Okay. So here we are validating the arguments, whether it is given correctly or not. For example, here the arguments has to be given in the form of integers. Okay. And this metavar means how this arguments are named using the variable n. And next type is, it should be of integer type. And n is number of arguments. It can have many number of arguments. And this help means if any error, what is this message to be displayed by the user, that is given in the heading. So here I have given the information about the command line arguments into the parser. So based on this information, it will check whether the command line arguments that are at the runtime is given rightly or not. For example, instead of integers, if I am passing float, then this will show the message as an integer for the accumulator. Or if I am giving string or a character, then it will show the message. Okay. So that validation is done with the help of parse args function in the parser object. So once this validation is done, which means the type of the argument is correct, then automatically this args object will call the accumulate function to calculate the sum. So what action has to be done? Once the parse validation is okay, it is right, then what should be done? It should perform the action what should be done on the command line argument. So that is given in the second add argument. So here what is the action? Accumulate, and it will calculate the sum and store the constant sum value, right? So that is the action performed by accumulate function. Okay. So this will print the sum of the integers that are passed at the runtime. So first thing is initialize the parser object. That is nothing but creating the parser object. Then adding the information about arguments to the parser object. Then adding the information about what action has to be performed on the parser object. Then after that, we validate the command line arguments with the help of parse args function. Okay. So it will take, the command line arguments are given in the correct type by the user means this will be true. So automatically it will perform the action what the user required at this point. Okay, so that is taken, that action is executed, and finally the output will be displayed. Okay, so let us look at this example. Here, instead of integers, I am passing minus h. So which means it will display some error message. Okay, so it will display some error message. So if I am giving correctly the integers, okay, what will be displayed? Here the type is right? So I will accept only the integer command line arguments. So exactly I have given the integer type. So it will calculate the sum value as 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 6, 14, 14 plus 7, 21. So the sum value will be displayed. So here I have given a character type, right? So what will display? It will display the error. So only if the type of the command line arguments is exactly correct, then only the output will be displayed. The action will be performed. Otherwise, it will show you the error message. So let's see another example. So here sorting. How do you sort the integer inputs in ascending order? So in the same way, you have to import the arg parse module, right? So next you have to create the parser object. Okay, and then you have to store the information about the arguments into the parser object. So here also I am sorting the integers. So the data type should be integer, and it can be named as the variable n, and it should be of type int. It can accept many arguments, and in case if any error, it should display the help message. Next, I want to give the action to be performed on the command line arguments. So accumulate action. So it has to store the final constant value. So here the action, I mean what should be performed means that is given in the constant key. So it is sorted. So in the above program, here constant is sum, which means it calculates the sum. Here we are going to perform sorting operation. So using the keyword called sorted. So in case if there is any mismatch or any error in this, then it will display the message, arrange the integers in ascending order. So next one is the validation part. So it will pass the arguments whether it is given in the form of integers or not. So if it is given in the form of integers means the accumulate function is called, and it will sort the integers in the ascending order. Otherwise, it will show you some help message. Okay, so look at this example. If it is minus h, it will show you some help message, and the add argument help message also. Then if I am giving the correct integer type, then it will arrange it in the sorting order. That is 2, 3, 5, 8. 2, 3, 5, 8. That is printed as output. If I am giving any other data type other than integer means, then it will show you again the invalid data type. Okay. So this arg parse is used to check whether the command line arguments are given in the correct data type or not. If it is given in the correct data type, then what action has to be performed on those values. So those things are taken care by the arg parse module. So I just summarize what are the things that we have discussed in this session. So in this session, we have discussed about what is command line arguments. So these are nothing but the arguments that are passed at the runtime of your execution of your program. So these things, these command line arguments can be implemented with the help of three modules: argv module, getopt module, and argparse module. So this start argv will store the list of arguments, and it will give the information about how many arguments and what is the file name. So those things are taken care by sys module. And getopt module, it will just check whether the parameters are given in the correct manner or not. Okay. So for example, some built-in command, help command, and my file command, output command. So those things are given exactly correctly by the user or not. So next argparse. So these two modules are similar to each other. So both are checking the or validating the arguments that are passed at the runtime. So this also will check whether the correct command is given by the user or not. This also check whether the correct command is given and the correct data type of the argument is given or not. And it also takes care what action has to be done on the command line arguments. So I hope you will understand about the very detailed explanation about the command line arguments. Thank you.